asylum seeker is a person who crosses an international border in order to take refuge from persecution that they receive in their own country. States are normally obliged to provide human rights and protection for their own citizens, but sometimes this doesn't happen. So a person feels obliged to leave that country and enter another country. Once they arrive in another country, it's up to either the state in some cases or UNHCR to determine whether or not this person's claim of asylum is valid and whether or not this person is actually a refugee. Now, states have some obligations internationally to provide protection to people that flee across borders to their country seeking protection. According to international customary law, a state may not return an asylum seeker or a refugee to a country where he may face persecution for either his religious, political persuasions. Refugees or asylum seekers are obliged to abide by the laws and regulations of that country. They are not above the law. They must respect all laws, rules, and regulations. Some countries put special rules and regulations against working or against travel, and refugees and asylum seekers are obliged to follow those national laws and rules and regulations. At the same time, the state has a responsibility to provide human rights for refugees and asylum seekers, normally in the form of medical care or education for children. Refugees and asylum seekers in Sri Lanka are very few. You have about 88 recognized refugees in Sri Lanka and a little over 200 asylum seekers that are in the process of having their status determined by UNHCR. Now, I should first mention that when an asylum seeker approaches UNHCR, we immediately after registering them, we immediately inform the government, the Department of Immigration and also the Ministry of External Affairs. We issue them a certificate which basically says that they're an asylum seeker with UNHCR and registered with us. And then they go through a process of having their status determined. Now, I say numbers are small. 88 refugees, a little over 200 asylum seekers compared to a population of 21 million is very small. And around the world, there are countries that have, well, Pakistan, for example, 1.5 million refugees. Nepal had 120,000 refugees up until just recently. And Malaysia, just under 100,000 refugees and asylum seekers. So the numbers here are very small. UNHCR works very hard to expedite the determination of their status. More importantly, if a person or asylum seeker is found to actually have a claim for refugee status and that claim can be upheld, we are obliged to find a solution for that. And that solution is normally resettlement to another country. As far as people whose claim is not upheld after an appeal process, which they're entitled to if they like, if their asylum claim fails again for a second time, they're no longer of concern to UNHCR. We inform the government of the details of these people as well, and these people can be deported by means of the government if they so wish.
Every minute, 8 people around the world are forced to flee their homes due to war and persecution. No one chooses to be a refugee. Today, 43 million people worldwide have been displaced. We remember them.